Hi, family. Happy July 20th. Happy BOGO Day 2. Happy all the things. I'm so ecstatic to be here for our Mudita Essentials call number 7. I'm here with the love of my life partner, Kara. Y'all, okay, here's the thing. I had this whole plan for our call I was so excited about. I had prepped a call last week, and then they announced BOGOs, okay? Which is something that doTERRA does sometimes. They're like, oh, you have a plan, cute bitch, here's a curveball. So we love them. we love them. They keep us on our toes. But so what this means is that, as we all know, BOGO is a big endeavor. It's a very high energy week. It does take a lot of management. So I have cut the presentation in half. Okay. We're going to try and keep it under 30 minutes. And I just want to speak to you about the concept of using creative strategies in our business to nourish momentum. Okay. I have a little presentation I'll show you. And then after that, Kara is the only one on the call live. So Kara will pop in if she has anything to add or any questions. And then of course, anyone watching this afterwards, get in touch with us if you need more ideas or if you want support on this subject. First and foremost, I'd like to salute all of you. Life is like a whole thing. I don't know if you all have noticed. It's like this thing that we have to do every day when we wake up. It's a blessing. It's beautiful, but it's not always easy. And what I've noticed and learned about my wellness business, specifically pertaining to doTERRA, which is a very particular way of selling product, is that this business will not create any sort of, mindset, money, mental, emotional conflict. It will simply amplify the ones that you already have, which is really interesting because for those of us who are very aware, mindful, and hashtag doing the work, it can be very physically and spiritually draining to hustle through and kind of keep that momentum going all the time. The law of inertia says, if a item or object in motion is not stopped by an extenuating external force, it will continue to move. It also says that if that movement is stopped, it takes a larger amount of energy to get that moving again. So if we are talking about our business and our creativity in our business, when that momentum starts to wane or comes up against a wall, it can be that much more difficult to kind of, what's that saying? Pull up your bootstraps and keep going. I don't know where that saying comes from, and I don't know who wears bootstraps anymore, but you know what I mean. So I think the conclusion, or the sort of pseudo conclusion, because I never really reach any sort of actual conclusions, I'm just always kind of searching for more information. The pseudo conclusion I've come to is that in order to foster momentum and continuous perpetual joy in my business, creativity and play is the centerpiece of what we need to be doing. It needs to constitute a very large percentage of the efforts we put in. When I am not working from a place of joy, there is no momentum in my business. And when there is no momentum in my business, I am not working from a place of joy. You see that bullshit cycle that can sometimes set in? And I want to put on a disclaimer here. Everything I'm talking about is lived experience. Also, none of the things I'm talking about today are going to give you a solution so that you never fall in a rut. That doesn't exist. That's not what business is. Business is learning to augment and nourish your tolerance to the ebb and flow of rut versus, the high of things going well and getting those easy enrollments and getting that PV and having things just kind of fall into place. Now, there is a way to minimize the low lows and the super high highs by kind of evening out that energy throughout. And that's what I want to talk to you all about today. Care Bear, anything to add before I open up the thingamajig here?
That's great. Very relatable. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, listen, this entire presentation is based on our conversations from the past 3 months. So you'll probably recognize a lot of it. Also, you know, I went back and watched some of my recordings just to kind of, always trying to tweak the presentations I do. And I realize I quite often forget to suggest to have an oil on hand, to either put an oil in the diffuser, put it on, you know, anoint your body, or just open up the bottle. So I'm going to tell you the 2 oils that I am working with today and throughout this week. In the diffuser, I have Holiday Joy going, which is hilarious. Mostly because the holidays really remind me of, you know, abundance, generosity, that kind of like nostalgia you feel for the holidays. I find that that's a really nice energetic pairing for BOGO week. And I'm also double dosing, double dosed, and I'm also double dosed. Passion and Balance. These 2 roller blends, one right on top of the other, you know, neck, back of the neck, chest, wrist, all the places, simply because I find that the Passion blend really is very sensory awakening, but the Balance blend is my go-to for keeping things grounded. And if I've learned anything in the past 3 years, it is that staying grounded and having, you know, healthy boundaries during BOGO is a good thing to do, so you don't experience BOGO burnout. Okay, let me show you this little presentation. Y'all know how obsessed I am with, oh, I guess I have to share my screen. If y'all are not familiar with Canva, can you get on it? Okay, it's the best thing ever. And since we're specifically talking about creativity today, it is probably a site that you will all will love. Kara, do you see this? Yeah, okay, good. So this is the smallest presentation I've ever done because, as I said, I cut it in half. The main point that I want to get across today is that using play and creativity will foster momentum in your business. Now, I also want to clarify that momentum in your business can mean a myriad of things. And the momentum needed in my business is going to be different than the momentum needed in Kara's business or Amy's business or Aileen's business. It is going to change based on your needs in any given day or season of your business, you know, what you are working on, where your head's at, where your finances at. So keep in mind that everything I'm talking about here is about creating momentum, but it isn't going to look the same for everyone. Oh. Hello? Okay, there we go. Sharing essential oils and building a successful wellness business comes with challenges. Okay? I should have written that all in bold, all in caps. I didn't. I kept it respectful, but challenges come up. They creep up around the corner. That's what having your own business looks like. Okay. Play and creativity are super important for success. One of the things that I find most interesting about my journey with building my wellness business, whether it be coaching, yoga, aromatherapy, all of these different things, is that over time, as I develop different relationships and a different relationship to my business, success actually looks different than it used to. What I equate to success is very different than what I was indoctrinated into believing success was. So that's also something to keep in mind. Not only is the momentum in our business is going to look different, but so is our barometer of success. So here are a few hints for keeping things exciting and joyful in your business. And this is another word I really want us to be aware of today: joy, joyfulness. The more fun and enjoyment you get from your business, the more momentum you will see. That's I mean, a quantifiable fact. Joy is magnetic. It is through sharing that joy that we can grow authentically in a way that is aligned with our values. Because as we know, this particular family that we are building, our little crew, you know, we've spoken to, we've developed the kind of, you know, manifesto that we want in our business. And that comes with authentic growth. It comes with authentic connection. It comes with speaking up, speaking to power, and standing in our values and in our integrity, which is not always easy. It is, in fact, quite difficult to stay authentic when the easy route will often get you success or PV or money in a quicker way. But at the end of the day, are you going to be in love with your business, and are you going to find joy in your business if it doesn't look exactly like you? Probably not. So here's the little list I put together. I'm just going to go through it quickly. And then, as I said, if you have any questions for Kara and I of ways you can actually integrate this, you let us know. So the first thing I wanted to say, I believe it's super important to cultivate open, joyful relationships with your team and clients and spoil them. Okay. I'm not talking about sending them a $300 Christmas gift. Although some people, am I pointing at Kara's head in this video? Some of them do that. Okay. I mean, I'm Kara's upline and she spoils me more than I spoil her. So, you know, wrap your mind around that. But when I'm talking about spoiling your clients or your team, I'm talking about spoiling them with your energy, with your time, with the resources you have to offer. This business should never make you feel scared, should not trigger scarcity, should not overwhelm you, should not create anxiety around your finances. Okay. That's not to say it won't. What I'm trying to get to with that is that part of the joy of bringing creativity into your business is finding ways to spoil your clients and your team that don't necessarily cost you an exorbitant amount of money that you do not have access to, by the way, in the first few years of your business. Okay. Second thing, this is going against every single doTERRA training you will take. Okay. So this is the Gab and Kara training. And then there's doTERRA training. Choose what one you like better. I personally like us, but anyways, that's me. Hang out in your zone of genius 70% of the time. Of course you are going to get uncomfortable. Of course you are going to have to learn new things. Absolutely. Now, listen, I'm not a statistician. I'm not a mathematician. Okay. I said 70% because what I'm trying to get across is that you want a majority of the time you are spending on your business to be in joyful action. Joyful action is found within your zone of genius, the things that light you up and the things that you are good at. It is a fact that your brain and your body are going to feel more joy, more endorphins, more of those feel-good hormones when you know that you are in the zone and you are crushing it. You can't be in that zone if you are constantly trying to do something that you know is not your strength. And in fact, later on in your business, you should be outsourcing the stuff that isn't in your zone of genius, because guess what? It is in someone else's. And they're the people who need to be doing it. You should be doing the things that you're amazing at. My zone of genius is like talking shit. So I do a lot of videos. That's what my zone of genius is. Okay. Other people's zones of genius are finances, budgeting, like, you know, all of those left brain things, no, right brain things, which is amazing. The point is, yes, absolutely. There needs to be space for doing things you're not good at, learning new skills. But try and spend a majority of your time in the things that you are most strong at. I'm going to keep going. Is that okay for you, Kara? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, just question. I feel like number 2 could be a whole video on its own.
100%.
Because I understand better my zone of genius, but sometimes when I'm outside my zone of genius, I don't always can look back and be like, oh, I'm just outside my zone and I'll just hop back in. Like usually it's like I reel and I spiral. I have to call you.
Yes.
How how do you sort of keep yourself in check to make sure that you sort of stay in the 70%?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a perfect answer. For me, this is something I've really been working on this year. What's helped me the most is to make a list, because I'm very type A, so that when I am spiraling, when I do feel like I'm not in my zone, I have to remind myself what it is I do and what I do well and where I need to go back. But interested to hear how you sort of stay in that zone and how you remind yourself to go back to it.
That's an incredible question. First thing I will say is yes, that is a whole call. And let's do that call, because I think that call is a lot of fun. And there's some really nice like exercises that we can do, like some Deb exercises and stuff. My quick and dirty answer to that is, what has helped me is that I've actually invented a different zone. I believe there's a difference between your zone of strength and your zone of genius. If you've done the Strengths Finder, which I know several of the people in our family group have, your zone of strength are the things that your brain naturally excels at, right? Your zone of strength is highly productive. You know, it is the zone where you are going to get shit done. It is the zone that you can bang it out and you know it ain't no thing. That's the zone of strength. I believe that the zone of genius intersects between zone of strength and zone of joy. So I think the distinction that's super important is, are you spending an exorbitant amount of time in your zone of strength because it feels productive? Or are you spending a good amount of time doing things that, yes, you're strong at, but that actually feed you energetically? And one of the things that I like to do is really check in somatically with my body. So I'll give you an example. If I have put aside 4 hours of work for my doTERRA business, I'm going to journal 5 minutes before I start and 5 minutes afterwards, and I'm going to do a check-in. If at the end of that 4 hours, I'm exhausted, I'm drained, my eyes hurt, and I feel like I need to physically throw my computer out the window, then I've either been playing too much in the areas that I'm not at all comfortable with, or I have divided up between zero comfort zone and zone of strength. Because the thing about the zone of strength is that, yes, it's highly productive, but it is not going to feed your energy. Your zone of genius is the zone where you're stepping out of that, you are jacked up, and you feel like you could do 3 more hours of the exact same thing. So, you know, that's kind of like my easy answer. If we were looking at a Venn diagram, there would be, you know, non-comfort zone, zone of strength, zone of genius, and zone of joy. They can intersect in different ways because you can be in joy while learning something new. But I think the important thing is learning how to be mindful of how much time you're spending in each section. Because the other thing is, if you're in your zone of joy and zone of genius at all times, 100%, that means that you're not at all in your zone of discomfort and you're not pushing yourself to learn anything new. So I think what I'm going to do is write a note to myself that that would be a really great call. But is that kind of a good way to think about it for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's helpful to think about those zones, and totally agree with you.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you are so welcome. I'm just writing this down. And I also love making Venn diagrams, so that should be interesting. Joy, genius, and strength. Okay, cool. I will definitely develop that workshop for the next one, and we can like chat about that. That would be really fun. Okay. Few other ones that are pretty straightforward. Number 3, play more while you work. Yeah. Work shouldn't be, especially your own business. I'm not saying if you work in like a corporate, like, you know, government office, that you should go in wearing like wigs and like a hula hoop. Hi. But I do think that every single person could infuse more joy into their daily work life. What does that look like? I don't know. Maybe it looks like making yourself a really bomb lunch or a really fun snack for your break. Maybe it looks like, you know, getting up every hour, putting 5-minute timer on and dancing to your favorite song. Just remember that play is a form of rest when it comes to creativity and productivity. Yeah. So mindfully integrating more of that. Along the same lines, change up your routine and work in new places. Yeah. This is the same thing about energetic space work. Okay. It's the reason why we use our diffusers, the reason why we do smudging ceremonies. It is really important to constantly be changing, purifying the space that you are working in. So if you always are set up in the exact same corner to do the exact same thing, you know, it is going to become monotone. Your body, your mind need creative energy. So maybe that means once a month or once every 2 weeks, instead of working at home, you go work in a cafe, you know, or you do analog work, you do an entire brainstorming session, but you do it while you're outside or while you're in, I don't know, a field of roses. I don't know, you know what I mean? But change up where you're working. Field of roses. I don't know why I said roses, but yeah. Number 5, make sure to take time away from your business. Okay. Your business, you have to keep in mind, your business is like any relationship in your life. There is zero human on earth that you could spend 24 hours a day with, 7 days a week, and not get on each other's nerves. Your business will get on your nerves if you do not take a break. You know, what does that look like? I don't know. It depends on each person. There are, you know, crossline sisters that Karen and I both know that have taken full-on sabbaticals for 2 months and gone, you know, fucked off to Mexico. I love you, Jules. This is not, you know, if you're watching this into the future, I love you. Some people create a very strict boundary around Sundays. I'm not available on Sundays. I do not touch my business on Sundays. That's a lie. Sometimes I do. But the point is, you have to figure out what taking time away from your business is. But it's like anything. You need time for your ideas to settle, right? Just keep that in mind. Figure out what feels good to you. Number 6 is funny. There's a little caveat on number 6. Hang out with like-minded folks. Surround yourself with things that inspire you visually, emotionally, spiritually. Make sure that you're taking in content that lights you up, for sure. That's every single business coach is going to tell you to do that. I'm also going to tell you from an activist's point of view, because that is the lens through which I am building my business. You also need to expose yourself to people with different approaches and different backgrounds. Because the thing is, the key to a solution is always going to be outside of your scope of consciousness. What's that saying that they say is that psychosis is when you keep doing the exact same thing, hoping for a different result, right? That is so prevalent in our business. How many times, Kara, have you sat down and like done the same thing and been like, I don't understand why this works? And I'm saying you because you're on the call, but I do the same thing. When I'm getting in a rut in my business, I fall back into my old patterns and I wonder why miraculously I don't have like new clients coming out of the woodwork. The key to this is not just to listen to and consume content of people who you like and who will tell you that you're right and you're doing it properly. We need to build resilience around getting uncomfortable and learning from our polar opposites. Super important. The last 2, very, very quickly. Set aside time to dream and dream big. I want you to actually schedule in time for you to do nothing other than sit back and dream of exactly how epic you want your business to be. Maybe that means you're going to make a vision board. Maybe that means you're going to make an e-card on Canva. Maybe that means you're going to journal about exactly what walk-on song and what outfit you're going to wear when you do your presidential diamond walk. I don't know. But you have to dream bigger than what your brain currently believes it is capable of achieving. because until we challenge our own internal glass ceiling, we can't break through it. Yeah. The last thing, and probably the most important of this entire list, is we all need to celebrate more often. Celebration is the physical act of gratitude. Okay. Gratitude is a conscious state of mind. Celebration is that conscious state of mind enacted with a ritual, an action, whatever it may be. And gratitude fosters abundance. So if something happens in your business that is worth celebrating, and let me give you a little sidebar hint. Something happens every single week that is worth celebrating. I'm back. You need to set aside conscious time to celebrate, not just like, oh yeah, that was cool. No. You get an enrollment, you go outside and you get an ice cream cone. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a celebration that costs money. You hit a certain amount of PV. Well, you take the afternoon off and you go paddleboarding. It doesn't matter, but the conscious choice to physically anchor celebration into your body will help you to foster joy, foster abundance in your business, which will in turn open up the floodgates of creativity. How do you foster creativity? I love it when there's like coaches have these like annoying ass questions and they're like, but seriously, how do you foster creativity? I think the number one thing that comes back when I do coaching calls with people is them being like, oh, I'm not creative. If you get up in the morning and you choose an outfit and you go into the kitchen and you open your pantry and select items to put together and consume as breakfast, you have already done 2 creative acts in your day. Every single human is creative. That is how we live. That is how we survive. That is how we get from point A to point B in our day. We simply have to work on fostering that creativity in a more mindful way and really anchoring it into our body. I really love journaling. You all know that. I love EFT, like all the things. I found this really cute book called Me, Myself, and Ideas. Yeah. The Ultimate Guide to Brainstorming Solo. And it has like all these really cute, fun, like brain teaser activities. Some of them are really pertinent to our business, but some of them are actually just like fun activities that you can do. The reason I bring it up is that there is actual cognitive research that shows that the more you force your brain to be creative, the more it is capable of being creative. It is actually shown that the neurotissue in your brain becomes more malleable, in direct result to the amount of time you force your brain to be creative. That's why escape rooms are the biggest hit in the past 20 years, because people's brains get addicted to the idea of finding creative solutions. I'm going to stop share. I'm just under 30 minutes. Care Bear, anything to add?
That was awesome and much needed. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I think it's like a daily practice though, to remind myself of those 8 things that you just outlined, because and what I love about this business though is that we're able to move with the ebb and flow of our business and that creative process, right? And that there can be seasons of our business. So like right now, like my world is sort of blowing up, and like even though I'm still doing my business, like I have enough trust in it that it's still going to continue going, right? And I think I always want to be creative in front of a computer and like do all my research and do all the things. And when I'm the most creative, it's when I'm taking a walk, when I'm, in the shower or bathtub, or, it's always the places that bring me joy. That's when I get more creative and find solutions or to the problems that I'm like reeling about, in front of a laptop. So
Yes. And that's, I mean, I love that you brought that up. I love that you mentioned the ebb and flow of our business. And that's another thing that we can dive into. But, you know, I saw this hilarious post. I think you saw it because I reposted it by this really wonderful neurodivergent coach who posted the, you know, the only thing that has constant growth are cancer cells. That is the only thing on the history of this planet that has constant, unfazed, unstopped growth is cancer. So the ebb and flow of your business and honoring that is super important. I also love, you know, that you mentioned when your creativity comes out, because that's a really important roadmap to follow. It really pertains back to, you know, the hint about changing up your scenery. If you are feeling stagnant, or if your brain is conditioned to work in a certain way in one space, then the best thing you can do is changing up that pattern. You know, and honoring that and keeping these things, you know, giving these things and these actions priority in our business is something we can do together as a team. That is what accountability is about. Accountability isn't about forcing people into, you know, following a certain schedule or getting a certain amount of volume. It's about ensuring that people are being accountable to the way they want to build their business.
Sorry, I have to hop off, but this
I
is
do
awesome.
too.
We
I do
have to,
too.
like, we have to dig deeper, and
We
like,
will dig deeper. I love you. Thank you
Really-
so much for being here. Thank you everyone for watching this in the future. You need any more help, you have any questions, get at us, and have a really great BOGO week. Bye.